Ugh. What? What's that music?
What's that?
I don't know. I'm asking you the same question.
Oh no.
What? I'm trying to sleep,
They're
Jackson.
following us.
Who? Following us? We're not moving.
Wait, get to the car.
We're right now?
Oh god.
What?
Is that... That's casting out demons.
Oh my god. That's what I'm saying, though. Those two pieces of shit.
Wait,
Hey, welcome to Casting Out Demons.
I'm Bailey.
And I'm Zach.
hey.
We have a
Austin.
guest today. What's your name again?
Aston
Martin.
Aston Martin.
His name is Austin Hiddleston, right? Is that how
Yeah,
you pronounce it?
Austin Hiddleston.
Hiddleston.
No relation. No relation to the New Braunfels Hiddlestons.
Okay.
We are rocking and rolling.
All right, I got to tell you guys, this episode is for the birds.
Oh.
And we're down
see
to
what you
one.
did
I was
there.
going to see how many ornithological puns we could make in a single
Yes.
episode. So we're up to.
All right, let's let this episode take flight, guys.
Speaking of
don't think that's gonna fit the bill.
bird references.
Actual high
Yes.
five.
Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of bird references, what is your trick or tweet for this episode?
Oh yeah, so I actually have two. Is that okay with everybody? Is that okay, listeners? Can I have two tweets?
I mean,
Can
I'll
I-
have to wait until the votes come in.
We're going to have to distribute the.
This is a live vote. Trick or tweet number one. And with this tweet, humanity has reached about half the amount of tweeting in the birds. Hashtag bird noises suck 2015. And my second one, which is my runner-up, this starts with a quote. I'll say start quote and end quote when the quote's done, okay? Start quote. They say when a bird shits on you, it's good luck. But when a million birds shit on a town, end quote, and just then, Hitchcock stole my movie idea.
Well, Austin, I'm going to let you go next because you're the guest.
What?
So we play the first is the worst, second is the best rules
where
here.
am I
Casting
going?
Out Demons.
So you have did you come with a tweet beforehand?
Oh, sure.
Right
Let
on.
me-
That sounds
He's
real.
pulling it out of his
Let me
pocket.
pull it out right here.
Did you hear that book of tweets?
Yeah, that was the
table?
entire book.
Oh my god, it's such a big tweet,
Wait,
guys.
I got it. It's right.
Oh, that's a massive
That was
tweet.
everything.
Man, it's
I
ceramic and everything.
tweeted all over the place.
Oh god, you got your tweet on me.
Oh, my tweeter.
Gross.
Next
how
thing you know, you
tweet
get your Facebook all up in your Twitter.
Until I Google it.
Anyway, what'd you tweet?
Sorry. I have nothing. Let me think of something.
All right, we'll go to Bailey and we'll come back to Austin.
Okay, so this might be my favorite just because it's so goofy. Werner Herzog's less successful prequel to Grizzly Man entitled HEB Parking Lot.
Oh, that was gonna be one of my
Topical.
jokes.
Yeah. Just so you know, in case you're not listening from Austin, we have an HEB on Old Twerp that is constantly filled with, or what kind of bird is that? A grackle?
Grackle.
Grackle.
Grackles.
I feel
Grackles and
like that's a
mockingbirds.
universal HEB thing because it was the same at mine back in good old
Really?
Cleburne, Texas.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense because
It's the same in Bastrop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now,
Shit.
I had to
Well,
go
it's
buy...
the first HEB I've ever seen because I'm from a small town.
Oh, really?
So yeah, this is the only HEB I really have
I mean, me
experience
too.
with.
We had an HEB, but we didn't have a Wingstop. That's the big news
Yeah.
in my town right now.
Well, I told you before that we had 1.5 gas stations in my hometown. I say 1.5 because one actually had gas and the other one had the pumps, but they were like, we're out, so we don't have any.
We're just constantly...
Come back later. First come, first serve here at Crossroads.
We're still using the pumps from the 60s.
Yeah.
They only hold 10
We'll
gallons.
pump it for you, but with nothing in it.
Just water.
There's
Have fun with that.
a guy that worked out there like to pump the pumps, and he worked on tips, and he eventually died because no one was getting gas.
The
Couldn't
gas
feed
go
it.
with them?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that explains it.
we let him sink into the ground, and like in 100 million years, so
Finally, more fuel.
make some pictures.
I was waiting for the punchline because much like the birds, that joke was slow burning.
Ooh, speaking
Oh,
of the
yeah.
birds, what's your tweet?
My tweet.
Tweet.
God, if you've ever loved synthesizers, then you're gonna love all the Foley work for the birds. Or if you're a fan, this is way longer than a tweet.
This is a tweet
This
part.
is-
It's a part 2 tweet.
It's like 6 tweets.
Yes.
Okay.
Simultaneously.
With the little continue.
If you're a fan of dial-up computers, then you'll love the Foley work on the birds.
Very true.
I actually think that Hitchcock got it from like a synthesizer.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's called like a Toblidium. It's something ridiculous, but it's something that he found like like a piece from like 1920 in Germany or Poland.
Yeah, that
somewhere.
sounds right.
Nazis were there at one point.
That sounds about right
Yeah,
for him.
and like it's just the craziest chirps. Like that's all it does is it chirps.
So instead of a Nazi sympathizer, it's a Nazi,
Nazi
synthesizer. Hey-o!
We just all pointed the camera and winked, and
The credits came up and
yeah, end of the movie.
executive producer Dick Wolf.
So if you give us 1 second so that we can
sit on
unfreeze
that.
ourselves from our jump scene, we'll be right back to finish the podcast.
Casting Out Demons is filmed in front of a live studio
studio
audience.
Sitcoms, sit well, sit fresh.
Let's talk about Alfred Hitchcock for a second, okay?
do it.
Now, I haven't seen all of Hitchcock's movies because I don't think that's possible. But I have seen quite a few of them, and I have to say that The Birds ranks last on my list of what I've seen so far. Then again, I still haven't seen Psycho. Go ahead, react. I've seen the remake because I didn't know that it was a remake. I thought it was an original when I first saw it. I was a little kid, and Vince Vaughn was awesome. Anyway, so I haven't seen Psycho. Birds ranks at the bottom of my list. Where does this rank in your favorite Hitchcock movies?
Psycho is definitely my favorite.
Okay.
Rear Window is a close second.
Rear Window's my favorite.
Stewart,
Yeah.
and you get to hear Jimmy Stewart talk for 2 hours, which
Yeah.
is one of my favorite pastimes.
What's that in that window over there?
That was a little bit.
Bring me my binoculars.
Let me just watch these.
It's not really a good Jimmy Stewart impersonation.
That's, if you ever want the best, here's just a sidebar, watch the SNL sketch where Jason Sudeikis is Jimmy Stewart, and it's some derivative of, and this you call a wonderful life, and it's like, It's a Wonderful Life was set in a Jewish community, and it's really funny. So you should, but Jimmy Sudeikis does a really great Jimmy Stewart.
Sudeikis?
Jimmy Sudeikis does a great.
we all know Jason short for Jimmy.
Yeah.
All right, rank your top three. You got Psycho, then you got Rear Window. What makes third for you?
Are you making the birds noises?
Yeah, that's me.
Was that you?
I don't really know what would come next for me, because Hitchcock, I love, you have to realize, like, the ones that I watch are The Birds, Psycho, and Rear Window. Rear Window is the only one that I've had repeated viewings of, because I love Psycho, but it's not a movie that you
From what I've heard about it, it
watch.
seems pretty unsettling.
Yeah,
I don't think
a
it's a
little
movie
bit.
you'd want to watch over and over again. I'll go ahead and do
Yeah.
my top three if I can.
Yeah, go for
I would like to say number one is Rear Window, number two is North by Northwest, and number three, surprisingly, I hear this everybody's favorite Hitchcock movie. It's supposedly like a gem. I think I need to watch it a couple more times to really understand it, but I put Vertigo at 3.
Vertigo's good.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say it's one of the best movies ever made. I don't know. I want to watch it a couple more times. I didn't really understand all of it, and I put the blame on the Texas education system. But I'll watch it a couple more times, and next time we talk about Hitchcock, which will be Psycho, I'll let you guys back in on my list because I'm sure you guys care about it.
Well, and see, I don't. it's at the top of my list, caring about your list.
Wow.
That's
number one. That's
That's
just
number one for your favorite
Yes.
Hitchcock.
Yeah,
films,
exactly.
Caring about the list.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my god.
God, I don't know.
Tommy.
Honestly, like I haven't seen many of Hitchcock's films.
Yeah.
Birds was the first one that I saw when I was really young.
Yeah.
And like I thought nothing of it.
Yeah.
I honestly like it's terrified my parents, and
Yeah.
like I had no idea. I was like, it's birds.
Yeah.
It's just birds. What are you doing? But no. So yeah, I'd probably put Rear View Window because that's
Yeah.
another one that I have seen.
Oh, Rear Window.
And then just sort of by default, Birds comes in it too because
Yeah,
I haven't
that's
seen
fair.
anything else.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate because I'm bad at movies. That's why I'm on the podcast.
Yeah, that's why we got him.
Yeah.
guys.
We searched America for the world's worst person at movies. And
He's a
everyone
Hitchcock
agreed.
expert. He's
It's
seen
true.
2 of them.
It's like that crazy guy on that one special, like the aliens dude.
Yeah.
We're like, what can we find for our podcast?
Awesome.
All right, so this movie is
yeah.
a slow burner, like Bailey said, but I feel like a lot of the Hitchcock movies I've seen are slow
Yeah,
burners.
but it's
Maybe
like a-
North by Northwest is, and it's
Yeah.
kind of his action-paced movie.
It's kind of like a kerosene slow burner, though, where you have to wait until the kerosene's almost out, and then
Yes.
there's a little poof.
Yeah, so there's not that much payoff. That's what I think in The Birds. There's really, like, the last scene, while it's memorable, because it's kind of a haunting image, them driving away, and you think, like, oh, man, it's not going to get better.
Yeah.
It still just doesn't have that oomph. You know what I mean? It doesn't have that kick that you kind of expect from one of the greatest filmmakers of all time.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's really sort of the goal. Like it's hard for me, like especially when I like rank movies. I don't know. Sorry. Yeah.
No, keep going. I want.
like I always try to approach them as like I want to take it as kind of what it seems to assert itself as.
Okay.
And that's still like a subjective.
And what do you think
judgment based on
birds?
me.
Yeah, what do you think birds asserts itself as?
I don't know. I feel like there have been a lot of analysis.
Okay,
so
yeah.
like there's a Slavoj Zizek analysis. There's an analysis about how like it's based on the story that was sort of reminiscent of like Eastern communist influence. And
Oh yeah, the book,
stuff.
The Birds.
Yeah.
the-
The short story.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
whatever.
and
Which-
apparently Hitchcock also based it off of an incident that happened in, I forget where it was in California, but it happened close to.
Capitola.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So essentially, birds attacked a town because of some, I think it was like plankton that were being eaten by the
Yeah.
birds that had some
I
kind
know
of
exactly.
like toxic in them, and it made the birds disoriented, so they started flying into shit. And
Oh,
I think
that's
that's where,
intense.
yeah. So essentially, that's where Hitchcock got the seed of the idea. But were you about to say something, or?
So two things, an important thing to note is that the actual short story, The Birds, the only two similarities between that and the actual movie are Bodega Bay and the birds attacking. No characters are the same between
Yeah.
the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Unless-
he just chose the setting
yeah.
and the incident.
Right. But I don't know. When I try to approach it, it seems very much just kind of this like level feeling of constant dread.
Yeah.
There's no like the classic Aristotelian idea of like the rising action
Yeah.
to the like main conflict and then like everything drops back off.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's very much just sort of this like I don't know. Like, have you ever been dive bombed by birds?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a story. Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so I have a story actually that I wrote down here. Okay, so the other day I was walking to get to a tattoo consultation. Okay, and the assistant manager of our apartment complex joked that there was an attack bird, and I thought nothing of it. And this mockingbird, I kid you not, this is a real story, started pecking at my arm and diving at me. So I took out my keys, whacked it squawked, and then flew away. And the first thing I say out loud by myself is, "Now I know how Tippi Hedren felt." Honest to God. And it was just horrifying in that moment. And it wasn't even like pecking me hard. It was just kind of like an annoyance, like as opposed to like any real pain. But that's all I could think of. Was, oh
And
my
it
God,
really
this is
pissed me
something
off
fucked up.
because, like, I turned back from being the bird. I was just trying to get Bailey's attention, but I went back to my
And then
apartment.
he anamorphed back.
Yeah,
I anamorphed back, man.
To keep the continuity.
I thought it was a really impressive thing that I could do, turn into a bird. But Bailey's like, "Here's my fucking keys," and
Now you-
slaps me with it.
now you've become a Teen Nick TV show.
Yeah.
That-
If you're out there,
From the
Nick
late
Cannon.
90s.
to keep up the continuity of The Walking Dead evolution.
Yes.
This is actually the pilot for our show. This was not a real story. It's just a pitch.
But no, yeah. Like one time I was at work and I walked across the street to get a cup of coffee, and as I was crossing the street, like I got dived on by like 6 grackles.
Damn.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. See, I've never had that happen, man.
And
I've always just been one with the birds.
yeah, it's just like a part of them. You're the pigeon guy from
I'm
Hey
at
Arnold.
the top of the pecking
Yeah,
order.
you're the pigeon guy from Hey Arnold.
Have you seen the article where people are saying that he actually committed suicide?
Yeah,
and
dude,
that
that-
whole episode is about suicide, and that Arnold, like, in his young wee mind, actually blocked out Stoopman being, like, jumping off the building
Yeah.
with him being carried away by pigeons.
That's looking back on that show. That's how I perceived like everything that was experienced.
Does anybody hear me?
There's a ton of heavy shit in that show.
Like, Stoop Kid was probably,
Dude,
like,
Stu Kid
abused.
is so sad,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, man. He didn't know how to read. His favorite thing was that.
Stop ruining Hey Arnold for me,
I'm
guys.
sorry. It's like, no, we're making it better.
Hey Austin. All right, let's.
Hey,
I-
Austin!
Okay.
Sorry.
so-
But like as I was walking, I got my coffee and
Yeah.
I walked back across the street.
Yeah.
And like, I felt so much dread. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Like I was looking over my shoulder constantly.
because nature is going against you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what
a
the
really
movie's
powerful
about.
thing.
So now, in terms of like what this movie meant cinematically,
Yes.
it changed the landscape of what special effects
Yeah.
like were thought of. To be able to control like an absurd amount of birds in the way that Hitchcock did,
Yeah.
even though some of it looks kind of cut and pasty at certain points,
Well-
like whenever the kids are being chased from the
Yeah.
school, it looks kind of cheesy.
They
Because-
were running on a
Oh,
treadmill.
Yeah, they were
they
definitely running
on
on
a
tread-
treadmill
'cause they were
didn't
like-
have enough kids at the time, so
Yeah.
like, half of it was shot at the Universal backlot on
Yeah.
a treadmill.
Yeah.
And like for whatever that means, I think it still worked effectively in the confines of the movie. But like, I look at it the same way I look at Avatar, the movie that
Right.
James Cameron made. It's a cinematic experience, and it's marvelous in how like you're pushing the boundaries of what movie making can be. But at the end of it, you still feel kind of like, I wish there was more to this rather than just the special effects.
Yeah, definitely.
And I appreciate for what it was. It is a classic movie, but at the end of the day, the character build up, just there is not enough payoff to call it like one of the best movies ever made. Which that was the expectation I went in with. Maybe that's unfair to the movie. I had always heard such.
This is your fault, Zach.
Yeah, definitely. I put all the blame on me. Yeah.
Somewhere a movie scholar is weeping.
Yeah.
Every
all right.
time you speak negatively this movie, they die.
It was so good though. It wasn't the best. You shouldn't have went with those expectations.
I shan't voice my opinion of The Graduate in that case, because then we're just gonna like make everyone upset at us.
I actually liked The Graduate.
I couldn't. Look, we're not gonna talk about.
Okay,
this
we'll
now.
talk about it later.
It's not a horror movie.
We'll have a Dustin Hoffman movie podcast.
just like a special.
All right. Yeah.
That's just Rain Man and the Graduate.
Just Rain Man and The Graduate, and he was in another movie, right?
Sure.
That's what the episode title's called.
He's
Rain
in-
Man the Graduate, and he was in another movie, right?
He's in Sahara,
Our
right?
Dustin Hoffman dedication episode. So fun fact about that, did you know it was actually nominated for an Oscar for the best special effects?
But it lost to Cleopatra.
Yes. Yeah, which was weird. What was? I've never seen Cleopatra.
I
What
haven't
special
either.
effects are in Cleopatra?
I
don't
can
know.
think of off the top of my head.
They probably
unless
put
it's-
some pyramids in post or something like that looked really real or
like
something.
making Elizabeth Taylor look Egyptian. That's
Yeah.
probably another
Yeah.
thing.
Was that the
That's the entire budget was to make her look Egyptian.
She really does look Egyptian. See how
That
she
eye-
walks
my
with her
God,
hands
that
up.
eyeliner.
Yeah, it's like she's dancing.
Sorry if there are any Egyptians listening to resorting to such harsh stereotypes. We
so-
realize that Elizabeth Taylor probably made you feel like lesser than, but
You know, we've got all the stereotypes.
America was fucked up in the 60s.
So anyway,
Mostly by, and the coast was fucked up by birds, apparently.
That's true.
Yeah.
everything comes full circle.
Yes.
The circle of
The
life
circle.
with the birds.
The circle of death.
This episode was sponsored by Elton John.
Ornithological.
So what did you? Okay.
So hold on, I was about to say something.
Okay,
I
go
just forgot. Where are my notes?
They're in front of
So one thing about the birds, Rod Taylor, which is the best porn name ever,
Oh, yeah.
says that the seagulls were fed a mixture of wheat and whiskey to make them stay still like that. Especially in the ending scene,
That makes
it's like
sense.
sneaking
Yeah.
around them.
So can we talk? This is actually very convenient because I wanted to talk about the ending scene because
Yes.
I felt like the ending scene, besides the shot at the end, was the worst scene in the movie. Like whenever they're all leaving the house, because it feels too fucking convenient that this is the one time. I understand that they come and like they gather up and they're about to attack, but isn't the whole point of the birds they're trying to kill people and they have like the main people that they were trying to kill apparently walking through them and they're just like, hey, what's up?
But they said they talk about though that the bird attacks are sporadic.
Yeah.
That they're not. So I guess that they're just catching them in their downtime or they're drunk.
But like,
and-
okay, let me do a counterpoint
No,
to
go for
that.
it.
Whenever Tippi Hedren goes upstairs and the birds attack her in the attic, that wasn't like not every other bird was attacking. So it seems like they can react to whenever they see somebody, they see a target.
Yeah.
It seems like it felt like they tried to tack on a happy
Go
ending.
first. I'll go first for the guest.
Especially with the film, you get this weird dichotomy of sort of like issues in the plot.
Yeah.
Because like it seems very much, I don't know, like that scene, the final scene especially.
Yeah.
Is something that Hitchcock has called like the hardest scene and that he's ever filmed.
Really?
Yeah.
Good,
Like,
probably
he
'cause of
said
the birds and everything.
He said it was the most difficult thing that he'd ever filmed, and it was the hardest thing for him to put together.
Yeah.
And organize and orchestrate.
Yeah. It wasn't the original ending they were going with either.
No, wait, really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they never filmed the original ending.
Wait, what was that?
I actually have it on my DVD. They have like the storyboard on it. I didn't look at all of it. I should've-
That's fine.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it was
you're-
like they
look
had
back
like
at-
certain. You read the script and they show you the scene on the storyboard and it was like
Yeah.
drawn and everything. And I started and I was like, eh. Apparently, like it shows them driving through the city at the end and like there's power lines down and everything. So like that's how it was
really?
supposed to end originally.
Oh, okay. Well, no, yeah. From what I heard, it was supposed to be for suspense reasons, but no. Like, I feel like the birds. Like, I feel like feeling dissatisfied with the birds is kind of what people should feel like.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, like, I think that Hitchcock didn't. I don't think that Hitchcock made it for others. Like, it feels like something that he wanted to do for himself. And like it's sort of that like artist crafting a thing.
Yeah.
But like for the love of trying to do it like
Yeah.
as a challenge.
Okay.
Like
You
me
know,
in this
and-
podcast.
You were just like Hitchcock, baby.
Yeah, no, you're right there.
I'm obsessed with having to send your daughter.
And I'm not gonna
daughter a
inform-
doll in a coffin. Yeah, fun fact, guys. Here's something creepy.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have like a really Amy Poehler moment here. freaking Alfred Hitchcock sent Tippi Hedren's daughter a doll that looked eerily like her mother in a wooden coffin.
Yeah.
What? Apparently, according to
It's a box.
my research,
It's just a box.
It's a box that was shaped just like a coffin. They perceived it to
like
be a coffin, yeah.
No,
Enough
it
like
was
a coffin to avoid using the word coffin for copyright reasons.
Casket.
Similar to, but legally distinct from, a coffin.
Like the artist formerly known as Coffin. So they
Good set, coffin.
So apparently, according to I've seen the movie Hitchcock with Anthony Hopkins, where he wonderfully plays Alfred Hitchcock. But apparently, according to research and things like that, Alfred Hitchcock had two issues in his film. A, he had a severe Oedipus complex, as we can see like in Psycho, obviously, and also in The Birds between Mitch and Lydia. Because his mother, it's almost like they're in a romantic relationship because he uses terms of endearment for her like honey and dear. And I know that this was the 60s, but like it has a very creepy undertone.
Yeah, it definitely does.
No, definitely.
And so...
Hell, even I agree with that.
Yeah, it
I kept watching it. I was like...
you shouldn't say that, buddy. That's
it
your
made
mom.
me
it's like-
uncomfortable.
Yeah. I know you're like 35 and live at home, but like...
It made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
trying harder to make this not look weird.
Well, because even Annie, like Suzanne Plachette's character, talks about it. And she talks about like how weird their relationship was and like how that's what broke them up. Is because she was like, his mother just didn't want to be abandoned by him and all this stuff. And I was like, that's weird.
Now, let me ask you this. This is something I thought of. Maybe this is me going a little too far and reading into stuff. Okay. So there were a couple of things that I thought were important about the mother character and the fact that Melanie never had a mother. And the last time we see Melanie, Lydia is cradling her as if that's her child, which makes me think that maybe that could be her mother. That's kind of the stretch, maybe. But
that's super awkward then.
Yeah. So here's another theory. If there is, let's put this all aside. Let's say that maybe there is a weird romantic thing going on between Lydia and Mitch. His sister is a lot younger than him.
Yeah.
Did anybody else think about that? His sister is 11 and he's in his 30s.
I can't say anything though because my sister and I are 15 years apart, so I don't.
But that's
think that I thought that was as
24 years
weird.
apart.
Well, and my theory is actually that they're not brother and sister.
Yeah.
Like that was what I kept thinking.
That's
like,
what I thought.
like a Jack Nicholson situation, but
What's
keeping
that?
it all in the family.
Well,
okay, Jack
No,
Nicholson.
wait, what?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson didn't find out until he was like in his 30s or 40s that his sister was actually his mother and his mother was his grandmother.
That explains a lot about Jack Nicholson.
Right? That explains.
Yeah.
Here's Johnny and all of your messed up genes. But yeah, so that, yeah.
So I thought that was something that could have, like, I thought that very early on because I misheard that was his sister. So initially I thought it was his daughter.
Yeah, that's what
and
I
I thought. And then I was like, wait a second, and that's his sister? Oh, he's acting very fatherly towards her, and he keeps going home.
Well, and I think that what I kept thinking about was Annie, the relationship that they had.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was her mom. Like,
You think so?
I don't know. Well, I mean, he apparently met up with a lot of women.
Yeah, he was.
So like, it really could have been anyone, but I still feel, I don't know, like it might not have been her. There's a high chance that it wasn't. But like, she's definitely serves the role of sort of the person that would have been her mother.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe not genetically, but at least within the context
Well,
of
I
the
also
town.
have a theory. I like to, in my head, I like to put this,
That it was a
I like
witch?
to compare this to Mean Girls because Lydia's like Regina George. And then Annie's like Gretchen because she knows everything that's going on. So that's why her hair's so big, it's full of secrets. And so that would make Melanie Katie Heron. And at one point, Annie looks at something Melanie has on and goes, "Oh my gosh, that's so pretty. Where'd you get it?" And I almost spat out my coffee because it just made me laugh so hard. So just a sidebar there.
Tina Fey went back in time and wrote that line.
Yeah, dude.
She did. It was just so funny because it was
And she
it was
30
almost
rocked it.
identical.
No,
Okay, thank you.
it's the classic rule of cinema. Everything just back to Mean Girls.
So let's
Yes.
Yeah.
let's
Everything's
entertain
Girls.
this idea a little further. So let's say for shits and giggles that
Shits and gigs.
shits and gigs. What's the Annie? Let's say that Mitch is Annie's father, and let's say that Melanie.
Wait. And, okay, let's clarify. Kathy is the one that is his sister. Annie's the school teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kathy is
Just
the
like-
sister. Okay,
yeah,
I got the names.
identification purposes,
All
yeah.
those white lady names get kind of confusing after a little while.
She grew up to be the crazy one on Alien.
Is that right?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
the one that goes really like.
Oh, shit.
Like when the xenomorph comes out, she's like, "We're all gonna die," and just like breaks down.
Well, she probably has
and just, like-
PTSD from getting
Yeah,
attacked by
for
birds.
birds.
no,
Yeah,
but
actually-
I mean, she lived that long.
Yeah.
Like she's seen a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
She should be experienced by now. Anyway, this is completely off the point.
So
I love it.
let's say,
I apologize.
let's say that that's all. There's just, wouldn't it make sense that Mitch's character would go out and seek somebody that may be his sister if there's like this weird sense of inbreeding within this family, which is the total vibe I got.
I mean,
Because she doesn't have her mother. Like that scene where they talk about it, where she's like, "I never met my mother." He kind of like smirks a little bit. Like, you go watch it again. There's like this little moment where Mitch is like, "I know, because that's my mother."
Mother issues.
So like, it's weird, and I think Hitchcock kind of like begs the question of like this incestuous family that exists in this weird bay where the entire town seems kind of incestuous. But like, do you think that could have been a possibility?
I don't know. I mean,
It's a weird
I
theory.
don't know.
See,
This
there's-
is like your Satan pizza theory.
Wait. You don't have to go through all of it. but what?
Go listen to our House of the Devil
I'll watch-
episode.
I'll watch
Now
that video.
available.
That one's a
on
good
Netflix.
theory. I think that Satan was behind that
It
pizza
just
parlor.
made me laugh because you
Oh,
were
dude.
you took off your glasses and like stood
Oh,
up
where
on a
are my
desk.
glasses?
That's like my Exorcist theories.
Keep going.
Have you guys watched The Exorcist
Yes,
yet?
absolutely.
Oh, damn it.
No, we haven't recorded it.
Oh,
yet.
dude.
No, we haven't
Watched it.
Even when you do that, I want to come back for that.
Okay.
I've got so
Okay.
many theories for The Exorcist.
Oh my gosh, well, good.
I will fly.
I think,
That's good.
kind of off topic here, I think The
No,
Exorcist is the greatest horror movie I've ever seen.
Really?
I really
the
do.
first time I watched it, I died laughing.
You did?
Yeah, dude.
I guess if you watch, it's all
Yeah.
how you watch it.
Yeah, that's
you
the
know?
truth.
Yeah.
Like, that's all movies.
I watched it by myself at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
the
God,
witching
that's
hour.
terrible. Speaking of that, have you guys seen that?
We're gonna talking about that next week
Oh
with
my
my brother.
God.
Actually.
I love that.
I love it too.
That movie-
Oh shoot!
I'm sorry.
I'll go back and censor it.
I mean, we're not we're knocking a.
Please go back and
without it.
censor, but just say beep. Don't use like an actual thing.
I
Just
will.
use your voice.
Actually, just make it go staticky and make people think that like something screwed up in the podcast.
Okay.
but leave
now
in,
we're talking about
No,
it. so this
leave
is
in
all-
all of this.
Okay, this
just
is
so
all
that
so
they
meta.
know what it was.
All right, let's get grounded.
Okay.
Back in the birds.
Anyway, in the birds. So a couple fun facts.
What's a light on the topic?
Glad you said light, because I want to talk about how genius the flashlight lighting was in that scene where we just have the flashlight as the light and she's going into the
yeah.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Because that scene, so Rod Taylor at the end of the movie is actually carrying down her body double because that scene took 7 days to make. And
Yeah.
Tippi Hedren was actually hospitalized for exhaustion because it took so much out of her to film that scene when she goes to the
Jesus, I did not
attic.
know
She also
that.
actually got injured by birds.
She did. She
Like,
got cut in the face.
legitimately.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And she like broke down crying. And apparently Cary Grant was on set and he was like, "That's a brave woman."
So
And then just like
Okay.
left.
Just
Like that was all he
walked
did.
he walked in just to say that. he
Like,
knew the scene was
He was
being
just
filmed.
visiting, and like that was his.
I gotta say, if that all happened, then that wasn't worth it, man. Because this movie is not like worth like someone almost dying.
it's
over.
kind of just another like thing about Alfred Hitchcock not giving a shit.
It's
Yeah.
like Kubrick. He
he's
has a very Kubrick
he's-
style, yeah.
He's very. I mean, he's kind of abusive to his actors, and like he doesn't really care about what anyone else thinks.
Yeah,
It's like,
apparently.
I don't know. I'm not into that sort of style of creating art.
Yeah,
No, it's
but,
like,
like-
Psycho. When he scared
Yeah, no,
the
it's very
crap
that.
out of her in Psycho, the
Yeah.
knife scene, he wasn't
Yeah.
getting the reaction that he
But-
wanted from her and scared the crap out of her.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing like in Apocalypse Now, where they released a live tiger onto the actors.
Oh shit! I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah,
know that.
dude.
Yeah,
I gotta
it-
watch that movie.
It was chained up, but they were
on my
definitely
list of
within the
movies to
length of
watch.
the chain.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Ugh.
Like
Yeah, no,
that the
it's-
fear that they experience in that scene is real, which is the same as in with the scenes with Tippi Hedren in the attic. Like,
Good comeback.
sorry.
I like the fact that the movie is in two halves. Okay, so the first half is this immense character building.
Yeah,
With like fade ins and fades out.
Yeah, it's
like
like,
fade in and
ooh.
fades out of them.
It's
as
kind
well.
there's like this romantic comedy feel to it at one point where Tippi Hedren's on this boat and then she drives across and she breaks into his house.
Tippi
And,
Hedren is
She
drops off-
a
eccentric.
couple of lovebirds in a cage.
yeah, see, I have a theory about the lovebirds too.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to put a pin in that. And I'll talk about that in a
I want to
second.
just joke.
Go ahead.
What made me laugh so hard? Did you notice when they're like
Yeah,
spinning back
in the back of
and
the
forth
car.
with the car? I
Yeah.
laughed so hard.
I laughed
'cause
out loud too.
It was like
Chitty
Kinda
chitty.
cute.
about to like it was like chitty
Yeah.
chitty bang bang. Like somebody was about to like burst into song.
Yeah.
Or like Polly, like that old parrot movie.
She
or,
just
like,
starts
something just
whistling, and the
ridiculous.
birds start whistling, and then
What-
she's like, "Shut the fuck up!"
The funny.
Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock wanders onto the set, just says that and leaves.
That's not what I wrote.
He actually made a cameo at the
He
beginning.
makes a cameo in all of his
yeah,
movies.
he was
I think
walking his
He loves
dogs.
himself.
he does.
It's weird.
We're all just watching Hitchcock masturbate when we watch his movies, essentially. Especially the birds.
Yeah, grossly.
Yeah,
grossly
mentally
true.
So, okay, my theory about it being
excuse
told
me.
in two halves, and I think that there's a reason for this, because I don't know what you guys believe the reason for the bird attack is, but I think it's the end of the world. I think that the guy that is in the diner who says the world is ending, I think he's right.
Right.
I think this is nature attacking humanity, trying to take back what they want. And this is the only way I could really enjoy the movie if I thought
Yeah,
of it this
definitely.
way. So, when that theory is brought up, I think it's the reason that the character buildup is so immense in the first half is to show how it all is abandoned whenever the only instinct left is survival. So all these character things, throw away all the incestuous theories, because like in the end, what really matters is they're trying to survive as humans.
Right.
That's it. All the relationships, all these constructs that we build in our minds that are essentially at the end of the movie are just proved as luxuries that we have whenever we're not fighting for our survival. So I think that in that sense, despite the fact that I felt like the movie was like 30 minutes too long, I feel like the reason that it's told in these long, exaggerated halves is for that effect. That being said, I feel like I said, the ending doesn't answer, like it plays with the dichotomy of like human versus nature, and I just feel like the payoff isn't. It doesn't answer the question that it's asking within the movie, and I feel like maybe it's an impossible question to answer. Maybe that's why The Happening is such a bad movie.
That's what I wanted to talk about. Is
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan. Now that we're thinking about this, now that we talked about this, because this movie reminds me of. I thought of The Happening the entire time, which isn't as well made.
I'm sorry that you did that.
Trees.
Trees!
Mark Wahlberg gets scared by some trees. What are you doing, trees?
Hey, I think I found one of them Transformers.
Look at my third nipple. He's got 3 nipples.
God.
Where's my teddy bear?
Now that we're thinking about this, I think that M. Night Shyamalan has ripped off Alfred Hitchcock. I just threw my pen on the floor because I'm so excited. A lot more than we give him credit for. Because when you think about it, there's almost. For every Alfred Hitchcock movie, there is a crappy M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Okay, I want to hear this
Kind
theory.
of
I
the
want to
same
hear this
plot
theory.
line. Okay.
Maybe they're the
So
same
you have like the Big Twist movie, which his
Yeah.
would be Sixth Sense. Hitchcock's would be Psycho.
Okay.
You have
Okay.
you have Pizza.
You got
You have to hold Vander because he's gonna get out the door.
Oh.
So
You got.
so you have like Lady in the Water, Lady in the Lake, or whatever.
God, the movie's bad.
And that would be kind of like the equivalent of I don't know, like Rear Window or Vertigo or something.
Yeah.
And then so like for every, I just feel like there's an M. Night Shyamalan movie for every Hitchcock movie. I feel like they just all coincide.
I feel like they're the same person. I feel like they're the same person.
What a twist!
What a twist! Now, they do share a lot of weird similarities, but I don't know. I think that Hitchcock shares a lot of similarities with a lot of filmmakers, actually.
Yeah, 'cause he
I mean,
was
a
so
lot of
groundbreaking, yeah.
like he was one of the first, and especially with like how he did the camera work, how movies were composed, and how they were put together. I don't know, but I have a much different like primary theory for the birds stuff, and for like the birds as like a character, and like, I don't know if a lot of people look at the birds as like a character.
I like that
I
theory.
think so too. I
like
think
that
they're
theory
like a
a lot.
personification of nature.
No, but see, I don't think they're a personification of nature. I don't even think the movie is about man versus nature.
Okay.
I think it's about child versus father.
Okay.
Yeah. So like,
Go with
listen,
that.
I'm not a fan of Oedipal complexes. I'm not a fan of the theory.
I like edible complexes.
I mean, edible complexes. God, like what Godzilla eats. You know?
Like a gingerbread apartment.
Yeah, Godzilla eats
like
in
that
Japan.
mother looking good chicken.
Yeah.
Want some of that?
Oh yeah, let's. By the way, we're gonna eat pizza right now.
Yes, we are.
We're
So,
gonna smack into the microphone for the next 15 minutes.
It's gonna sound just like the Foley work for the birds.
Which, like, by the way, did you know that in the London premiere, he set speakers in all of the trees so when people walked out of the theater, they heard
that's
all of those
beautiful.
noises? Also, in attendance...
God, Hitchcock's such a dick.
Right? Also, in attendance at the premiere, there were 2 flamingos, 50 red cardinals and starlings, 6 penguins at the premiere. He,
Also,
got birds to go to the... I mean,
Well,
I guess
yeah,
the
I mean,
penguins
if anyone's
were
going to watch the
formal, but-
movie, then
They would get it.
They're the ones.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
Hey, that's my friend.
I imagine it's like a penguin in a top hat and a monocle. And he's like, let's go to the theater. That's what I imagine.
Man, Jeff is really high flying now. He's in the moving pictures.
And then those 2 flamingos were like the obnoxious guys that are like, run! What are you still doing here?
Everyone's like down in front because they're taller than all the others. Never mind.
I got
Also, I would like to comment that we're recording this on a road called Peacock Lane,
We are.
which I thought was oddly
I
thematic.
did that on purpose.
Yeah, it was like it was.
And
not,
he's actually
was that
not
a
out of
thing?
town. He's just like locked
I'm telling
in
you,
the
Bailey is just like Hitchcock.
You anti-kidnapped him. But no, my theory about the movie is that the birds are sort of this essence of the father. The dead father who was married to not Kath. What's
Lydia.
the name? Lydia, who was married to Lydia and who I guess left died.
He died.
He died.
I think
He
so.
died.
Yeah, no, I feel like the birds are much more sort of that because like they're very defensive and like it. The woman in the restaurant who specifically like the mother of those 2 children who specifically singles out.
You're evil!
Yeah, well, not even you're evil, but like you're the cause of this.
I have a theory
It's like
about
you're
that.
you're the cause of the dissolving of this family. You're the cause of the ruining of this town, which this guy was so respected in. You're the cause of all this.
I have a theory about that.
That's
Go for
why
it.
Austin's
I
going
think-
to grad school and we're not.
Because I overthink things and convolute them like
I
crazy.
have a theory, and maybe this could be my grad school application.
I have a theory about this pizza. I think that the spinach signifies
It's actually good pizza.
it's
though.
really delicious. I'm
Right.
surprised.
Okay, here's my theory. I think that it happening in Bodega Bay, it happening to these characters, is all arbitrary. I think that it's all one giant red herring. And the only way that can be more...
Like communism.
Yeah. I think red herring in movie terms, just in case someone doesn't know, it is essentially something that the director intentionally puts in to mislead you from what is actually happening.
It was also the character on a pup named Scooby-Doo that they always blamed everything on.
Wait, are you serious?
They really did. They had a character
his
named
name was
Red,
Red Herring?
and they every time
Oh.
Fred had this beef with him, like they had like a little kid brawl, so he'd be like, "It was Red Herring," and only in one episode was it ever Red Herring, and it was so funny. Sorry, they
No,
were
that's
ahead
good.
They were ahead of their time.
That show doesn't get as much love as it deserves.
It should get a lot more love.
I miss old Cartoon Network.
Rest in peace, pup named Scooby-Doo.
So, I have to say that I do believe everything that's happening with these characters is all arbitrary, and I think that the reason that the first half of the movie is like built up with these character things is to more signify the red herring and the fact that the movie begins in a bird shop. Not only to have a bookend with like bird noise at the beginning, bird noise at the end. I think that was intentional. But I think the reason that this is happening is because the movie's called The Birds. She goes in, she's looking for a bird. The guy comes in, he's looking for birds. And the birds that he's looking for, the lovebirds that she brings to, what's the girl's name again?
I was just like looking for birds in all the wrong places. Sorry, I'm done.
Okay.
Keep going.
You need to branch out from that, okay?
Take your medication.
So where was I? Okay, so they go to the bird store, trying to pick up some bird stuff in the wrong place. So he comes in, wants to love birds. Melanie gets the birds for, what's the little girl's name again? Kathy. Brings the birds to Kathy. Okay, and I think this entire first half of the movie, other than establishing the human versus nature dichotomy that I think the movie is dependent upon, I think it's all one giant red herring. And I think the only way that could have been more obvious is if the lovebirds were in fact red herrings instead of being lovebirds. So I think
Is that a bird?
I think so.
a red herring a
Yeah, red herring is an actual bird.
Oh, shit.
I googled that
never
shit.
knew.
Yeah, it's an actual bird.
Well, the more you know.
It's actually not a bird. It's a type of fish that you cook.
The more you
Zach
know.
Busby.
So yeah, that's my theory. I think it's kind of a stretch. It's kind of the devil controlling the pizza shop theory that I had before.
No,
but
I think it's good.
I think that's what he was doing.
My
why I
initial
hired
theory
you,
was
though.
witches, but you know,
That is why you hired me.
my initial theory was that it was a witch.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was a bird witch. I thought that the mom was a witch and really hated Tippi Hedren's character.
That could make sense. Like, yeah, I can.
No,
see
I mean,
that.
it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense
No, in
by
the
the
fact
end of
that
the
like,
movie.
she like kills her father and stuff.
Yeah.
With the birds or whatever. No, I'm still a big fan of the birds as like the protective sort of like father-son.
I really like that theory a lot, actually.
Because like they never attack him. Like they rarely attack him. Only when he's trying to defend like Tippi Hedren.
You are
and
right,
the wife.
my good sir.
So whenever he's fighting against his father,
Yeah, exactly.
the father strikes back and he's like, "Can't you see? I'm trying to protect you."
Yeah, but then he's
Father
just like,
Strikes Back's my
"Screw you,
favorite Star
Dad.
Wars
We're
movie."
all leaving you." And then that's why the birds don't attack because he's just like, "Well, fine. This is where I'm staying."
Well, see,
and they
Darth
leave.
Vader is actually based off the birds.
Oh shit!
I
can see it now.
I kind
Life
of
is so
thought
weird.
the birds let them go because when Rod Taylor is listening to the radio, it says Bodega Big's quarantine and that there are no outlets if
Yeah.
you listen to the radio. So I think that my theory was that they let him go because they're not going to get anywhere because they closed off all the roads.
Yeah, I think that's why the last shot is so hopeless.
Yeah.
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 And
Just
I
sort of
think
driving off
that
into-
they
Do you
just
think
kinda
that
let him
birds
go.
know that?
Wind. I think they're hyper intelligent.
I think,
I think they're machines. I think they're communist machines.
God.
This is not true. I apologize.
The birds are like, "Calm down. There's enough to go around for everybody."
The birds actually just don't understand. They just think that like everyone's upset and they're trying to help them out by giving them kisses.
Also,
Little stabby kisses.
can we talk about the part that killed me is when they're in Annie's classroom and all the kids are repeating the
Oh
words
yeah,
back
the
and forth.
song.
They're like,
That's
no,
just-
like when they're like repeating the words and they're like, fire drill.
Oh yeah.
No. I could have handled another hour of those kids just going
repeating.
back and forth. Be like,
The birds are killing us.
Jungle Jim. Like, Oedipus complex.
I have to say that
I
my-
could have handled that.
Repeating the birds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say that my favorite scene takes place at the schoolhouse. Is whenever they're singing.
Yeah, that was-
and
that's
Tippy
what I
goes
was talking
outside, and you see some birds behind her. You start to
turns
see
away.
and then like she
Turns
sees
back.
this one bird. She's like, "Where the fuck is this bird going?" And she turns around. And there's like thousands of birds. They're like, "We're about to strike, dude."
Yeah, dude, that's the other thing is like, you know, we kind of one of the cool things about the idea of like the birds being the enemy is like they're one of these like
You don't
animals
even
that we
notice.
can yeah, well,
Yeah.
they're one of these animals that are sort of almost domesticated in a way.
Yeah.
Like we put out food for them. We
Yeah,
have birds.
we
to eat,
build
you know?
houses.
Yeah,
And they're
we'll
the
build
only
houses for
animals
them.
that build houses for
Yeah,
themselves.
exactly.
How
so,
arrogant
like,
are we?
as humans are like
That's a stand-up joke I'm stealing from somebody. I don't know who.
you belong in this.
I don't know whose that is.
So basically, the birds are like the
Dimitri
Kanye
Martin.
Wests of the sky.
He's the greatest rock star that ever lived.
If you
apparently.
take anything away from this, if you listen carefully, they're actually chirping Bohemian Rhapsody off key and mumbling the words.
I have a theory about our podcast. I think that it's really just, you know, Kanye West speaking through us.
I always feel like everything I say is.
It's still an Oedipal complex.
I'm just a filter for Kanye's mind.
Yeah, you know.
We're all Kanye zombies.
I'm just
Everybody join hands.
I'm just a filter for Jaden Smith's mind.
Really?
Yeah, if we
Rats.
I got Shia LaBeouf, so I got it's hit or
you
miss
Shia's
with me.
Pratt?
have you God the Shia LaBeouf song video is great. I'm
Okay.
sorry, back on
So
topic.
the
So-
birds.
Do the thing.
I want to talk about the scene where they're in the diner and everybody has their theories as to what's going on.
Did you know she really slapped her? By the way, she
Good.
never. Tippi Hedren had never slapped anyone before in her entire life.
Yeah.
She was a
And the actress that was playing the mother actually encouraged her to do it because it would look better in the scene. And so that's why she's so taken aback, is because she's legitimately never slapped anyone before. Tippi
Well-
Hedren had never slapped another person before.
Well, and the super cool thing is like Tippi Hedren wasn't an actress. Like
Yeah, that was
she
her first movie.
She was a model.
Commercial.
Yeah, dude. And so like
She did a good job.
yeah, but like Hitchcock fucking pushed her to the limit. Like
Yeah.
of like method acting almost.
Yeah, it's
like
like-
attaching live birds to her by elastic straps to really get a reaction.
Yeah.
And like apparently making her hit people. Like that's a lot to put an actor through. I mean,
Especially
that's-
for their first movie. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh,
asking
yeah.
it's like asking like an athlete to run like a triathlon.
It's like asking me to run anything.
yeah.
That's did you know Suzanne Plaget's character actually wanted to have, she had this idea where like her ear was like kind of mangled and stuff, and so she pitched it to Hitchcock, and Hitchcock's like, yeah, send her to wardrobe. Did you realize we don't see that anywhere in the movie because Hitchcock put her on the opposite side, so she has the mangled ear.
Really?
But she's lying on the other side, so we just see her
Oh,
playing
yeah.
here, and so she chalked it up to his delicious sense of humor. because he sent her to makeup for like an hour to do all of that, and then decided to have her lie on the other side, so we could never see all of that makeup that was done.
Which comes back to the true theory of this entire podcast, which is that Hitchcock was a dick. Like, he's a big one. I mean,
Cock is in his name, guys.
Yeah, sure. He's
Alfred
a
Dick
cocky
Cock.
Alfred Dick Hitchcock.
So,
Yeah, no.
okay, back to the scene where everybody's discussing their theories on what's happening, and one lady's like, "It's your fault, you're evil."
Yeah.
One dude's like, "It's the end of the world," and the bird expert lady that's so conveniently there, she's like, "I know everything there is to know about birds, and in fact, these are birds, and these aren't the birds you're talking about, and birds are
These aren't the
birds.
birds you're looking for.
This is a bird. This isn't a bird, and that's also not a bird.
We're not birds, people. We're people, okay?" So her idea, like,
Very
I know
obvious
everything.
bird.
I know everything there is to know about birds, and then like
I like
later
that he
on we
keeps
see
straightening
that
an invisible tie. Like,
I
every
have a
time you say
tie.
that.
So she's like,
Which is not a bird.
we see later that she's like, "Oh shit, I was wrong about it." But I think that Hitchcock is doing this because the absolute, on a primal level, what fear is the absence of comfort. So when everybody has these intellectual theories about what is happening, and like seconds later they realize there is no intellectual reason for what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just fucked. That's all it is a cataclysmic just fuck you from nature. There is no intellectual thing, and that those going back to what I was talking about in the first half of the movie, how we build these intellectual constructs in our mind with relationships and everything to deal with nature.
Yeah.
That's when they all realize at the same point, like, oh, like, fuck, there is no, and then ladies like, "You're evil," and then Tippy's like, "Oh shit, I might be evil, so I should slap her."
Fuck this lady.
It
Then.
reminds me of, now that you said it, reminds me of Bo Burnham's story about the frog, and he's convoluted similes and metaphors, and it's
I love that.
like, there is no God, we're all dying, aren't we? At the end, like that's kind of like this movie is like the epitome of life sucks and then you die, and then that escalated quickly, because it gets real so fast. You're just like, what?
Not as fast as I would like.
The birds are always there. They're always watching, chirping maniacally.
Well, see, that's why I don't think this movie, if they released this movie today, it would be called The Happening. But anyway,
It'd be called.
I think it would bomb.
It'd be called Birdageddon.
it would bomb. It would absolutely bomb.
Birdageddon bomb.
I think that Melanie's character is supposed to represent the folly of humans to put significance on themselves, because
very much.
Like, if my theory is correct, which it might not be, that these characters, where it's happening in Bodega Bay, is completely arbitrary, and it's just where the birds happen to start attacking people.
Yeah.
And maybe they were attacking other people all across the world, just maybe not in California. We were only getting local radio stations in the movie anyway.
Yeah, sure.
So I think that whenever she says, "You're evil," I think that she believes that she is. I think that Melanie internalizes that, and that's why she lashes out. Go ahead.
Then could you say that Melody, it could represent like old school versus new school, because Melanie's like materialistic.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, is new wave because she's like independent.
Yeah.
And she's surprisingly independent. That's what I do like about her in this movie.
yeah.
She like takes classes and like she doesn't.
She's a great role model. Yeah.
Definitely.
Could you say it's kind of like a clash of the generations, because she represents?
I think that there is definitely that, especially with the mother Lydia.
So she's like, you're evil because she's bringing on this new wave of like, dare I say, feminism and everything like that.
And like even going so far as the fact that this is a new age kind of movie with the special effects and everything, it's kind of in having it shot in a very classic way. It's kind of, I think that's another dichotomy that Hitchcock is playing with, is old school versus new school. Then you have human versus nature, and then you have freedom versus the confines of love, because like Melanie's character is so free that she's jumping into pools naked. Well, she wasn't actually naked. Maybe she was pushed.
But the story was there.
The story was
gossip.
there. Yeah, so I think that is all intertwined. I think that's all intertwined, but at the end of it, it is the fact that there is, like, maybe that's why the movie feels empty at the end. Maybe, like you were talking about earlier, that was the intended goal.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Hitchcock, like his masturbation movie.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's more of a genius than we're giving him credit for, and the fact that there is no reason, like the audience doesn't feel like, that's why they did it.
Yeah.
Is because we're not supposed to feel comfort, as the characters aren't supposed to feel comfort.
Yeah, the treachery
Well,
follows you out of the theater.
we never like, it's not a situational irony. There's no situational irony. Like, we're on the same level as these characters. We know what they know when they know it.
Yeah.
And so, that's a really cool part of this, is you can interpret it how you will, because they don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen.
Well, and I feel like that's kind of reminiscent, like, we talked a little bit about the original story that Hitchcock sort of drew it from, and how it was very much based on communism. And honestly, when I watched it, I kind of got the Red Scare feeling.
Yeah.
Like especially when Tippy's character, Melanie, whatever, they're all the same to me. When Melanie's character is just getting blamed and like you're the one, like you brought this evil.
Yeah,
so it's kind of like they're basically saying commies.
Yes, and then there's the one who's like an expert and is like, oh, listen, no, they would never do that. And it's like, but secretly they are. And I don't know. There's a lot of elements, and I feel like he kind of drew on that. And when was it released?
1963.
So yeah, so it would have been.
I'll double check
a little bit past that. He also in Twilight Zone was known very often for doing stuff that had to deal directly with like
63.
the Red Scare. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Twilight Zone was full of metaphors.
And so like I don't know, I kind of got that vibe a little bit. I don't know if that was the main thing. I don't know if that was. Just
I think it's definitely something. I think maybe if it wasn't intentional, I think art has that way of definitely. Like just. You can kind of put whatever you want into it. Yeah, I think that
it draws out things that.
Not to sound super douchey with my non-prescription glasses on, that I think that like maybe Hitchcock was doing that kind of like
your reverse snapback. Yeah, you're wearing your non-prescription glasses.
So I think Hitchcock was maybe doing that a little bit, making a movie that is you take out what you want to take out of it. And I think at the time maybe there was some involuntary or involuntary like. Mentions of communism because that's what was happening at the time.
And I think that kind of ambiguity is beautiful.
In one way. Absolutely. Yeah.
And like it definitely, that's definitely one thing that is highlighted by the Birds a lot is the ambiguity.
Yeah, but like, I think to a certain point, to kind of argue the counterpoint of that, I feel like if you're going to have ambiguous elements to your movie, you still have to pick a lane at the end of the day. And I feel like maybe I'm not intellectual enough to understand what Hitchcock was doing. Maybe I need to watch it a couple more times, but I really don't have that much time. This is a long movie. But I do think that maybe he didn't pick a lane at the end of the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe that's the result of him not going with the original ending.
Well, I think, and this also reminds me a lot of Night of the Living Dead, because if you've never seen Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero in all of his films, even Diary of the Dead, which came out, I believe, in 2010 or 2011.
Love Diary of the
There's a lot of social commentary. It's very rich with social commentary, because if you've ever seen Night of the Living Dead, at the end, the only survivor is an African-American man, and he is shot on sight soon as he walks out of the house because he's African-American, and he's in no way, he's not infected.
Yeah.
And I mean, like in Diary of the Dead, it talks about like, you know, how we're narcissistic and how humanity's already void anyway, so we might as well just accept that. And so that's what I like, you know, about Romero and Hitchcock, is because they're using, this is why I love horror movies, is because horror movies are such a cool outlet for social commentary, and a lot of people don't see through that a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think they oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, no, they very much often highlight sort of like the deepest, darkest levels of like our sort of inherent fear.
Yeah, and I think that's where the real fear in a really good horror movie comes from. It's like the fact that like that's in the back of everybody's subconscious all the time anyway, is these things that are buried under levels and levels of things that we built upon intellectually. Yeah, so that when the birds come, you have to deal with those fears.
Well, which is kind of what's cool about like the Birds are always sort of in the background. There's that sort of McCarthyism aspect. There's the Oedipal complex. There's the man versus nature aspect. Like, so I think, I don't know, I like the movie because I think that it's very, like it's got a rich sort of place to look at, like just like filmmaking and how we tell stories.
Yeah.
Although it is very sort of like a light fare in the fact that it's not involving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you know, like I didn't feel involved in the movie. And it's not just because I watched it in a coffee shop while people were playing, like, you know, Green Day in the background, but still.
Well, I hope you had the time of your life watching it.
Yeah, exactly. What?
I hope you had the time of your life watching it. I hope you had the time of your life on the podcast today. Let me ask you, Bailey, what would you change about the movie?
What would I change about the movie? I want more Annie. Because Annie's like my favorite character. I want more Annie. I get that he was in love with Tippi Hedren. I get that.
She was a really cool character. He had a thing
for blondes too, by the way. Like almost all of his leading ladies were blonde. He was. His mother was probably blonde. I
don't think that Tippi Hedren was actually blonde.
Yeah,
like I think he bleached her.
I think he bleached her hair. Yeah. And so I just want to see more of her character because she's a really cool character, and I would love to see more of her.
And I actually love the acting. Like her acting.
Yeah. I think she was the best actor. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like she was so just like the delivery was perfectly timed.
And I mean, I don't think her father, the inventor of toaster strudel, would be too happy with her amount of airtime. Tie that back to my Mean Girls theory from earlier.
Wait, what joke?
It's a Mean Girl. Yeah,
awesome.
It's good.
Yeah, sure.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
So what would you change?
I just want more Annie.
More Annie.
I want to, because Suzanne Pleshette was already like an established actress, so I would love more of her.
Now, my biggest problem with the movie is how long it is. And I think that's the result of weak pacing on Hitchcock's part.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of like, I'm 21, barely a college graduate, and I went to a high school where they made us watch The Secret.
So you know
from Math
everything.
class.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I
you
know everything. So essentially what I'm saying is maybe my opinion doesn't hold as much weight, but I feel like if he's trying to tell the story of two halves, which he does effectively, arguably, I feel like he could have done it in a much more, for lack of better terms, a snappier way to make it have more of an impact quicker.
Well, and he didn't actually write it. Did
He didn't. Did
No,
he?
I think
I don't
he
think
had somebody
so.
else write it.
Let's
I'm
double
fairly
check
certain.
this.
He
Yeah.
didn't do a lot of screenwriting.
Yeah, no. I think he told the guy, he was like, I forget exactly who it was.
Evan Hunter.
Evan Hunter. He
Yeah.
told Mr. Hunter
Yeah.
that he like, listen, I read this story, I loved it, but I'll put more characters in it. And
Really?
like, yeah, basically, he was like, put more characters in it and put it in America. And like, that was, he'd give it more plot. And so that's sort of where the two movies come from, I think.
Okay.
I think that's where you're getting at.
That's an interesting.
Wait,
yeah.
Bailey is...
Oh no! When you said Mr. Hunter, is just very reminiscent of Mr. Feeney
Oh.
in Boy Meets World.
And there's Sean
Mr.
Hunter.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Shows I never watched as a
Mr.
child.
Matthews.
And what would you change?
Oh, Jesus. God, I don't know. I'm so indecisive.
Yeah?
I'm terrible at producing things. No, I feel like if I had to change anything, I would want there to be kind of like I want to care more about what happens. You know, because like I don't really.
Yeah, so like I agree with
care.
that. Like the building of the characters seems kind of like built for that one purpose of like telling the story of like losing their humanity. It doesn't really make us
Or just like the excuse of getting Tippy to be in that town at that time.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
weird. It's like I feel like it was
To bring lovebirds there.
Yeah, and to pull a prank on a guy and then go back from it.
That
and
is her
end up
nature,
leaving it.
though.
Yeah, that wasn't. I don't know.
It's a weird nature.
It's a weird movie. I still liked it a lot though. I don't
Yeah.
know why I liked
What
it.
did you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I don't know.
You can use like
I'm
something.
I'm
if
a
you want.
generous person. I don't know.
Okay.
I think.
I can say what I'm going to give it.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
go
going to give
for
it a
it.
7.6.
Okay.
Just because also I'm a huge Roseanne fan, and it gave us that amazing costume that Darlene wore, and I believe the 4th season Halloween episode that was great. She was Tippy Hedren with like birds sticking out of her. It was great.
Beautiful.
So you know, Alfred Hitchcock blessed the world
Cosplay
with
that
that.
at Comic-Con, guys.
But dress up as Darlene, dressed up as Tippy.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, don't dress as Tippy.
Just because I think that it was groundbreaking. I think that it led to a lot of the slow burn, because we are a big fan of the slow burn, like It Follows,
Yeah.
House of the Devil, Halloween.
I've yet to see It Falls, and I really want to.
Oh,
see
You
it's really,
you need
really
to
good.
watch
Yeah.
it. It's very, very good.
That's what started this podcast.
Yeah, that
it. Wow,
actually,
actually?
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. So I think that it contributed a lot. I think that her bedroom scene is brilliant. And I think there's some good in it. And
Yeah.
also, it leads a lot to the imagination, and also, sidebar, just add a little theory. I think that Kathy gets some sort of like avian transmitted something, because she's like, I'm sick, I don't feel well, and she looks sickly.
Yeah.
After the birds attack them. So just a sidebar.
I just had a
Bet
light
it's-
bulb
bet
to
it's a
kind of
rage
comment
virus.
on your theory
Yeah.
to kind of support it. The fact that at the end of the movie, she still wants to bring the lovebirds with her. Maybe she's like, I don't want to
Slightly
say.
delusional.
Yeah, and
she's
feeling
become
some
a-
kind of bird sympathizer.
yeah, well, I don't know. That sort of goes
Don't
back
tell
to
McCarthy.
that sort of goes back to the Oedipal complex.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of the like God. It's not Stockholm syndrome. What is it? When
Stockholm
someone-
syndrome kind of works
Is
for
it
it.
Stockholm
Yeah,
syndrome?
One of my favorite
when you
Blink-182 songs.
when you end up loving your oppressor.
yeah, it's Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, it's Stockholm syndrome. It's something along those lines. I think.
Sidebar, I've been to Stockholm. It's pretty nice.
Oh, really?
yeah,
Actually,
I have been there.
I went
Press Stockholm today.
I went to Elgin once.
Really?
That's like that, right?
I don't know.
That's a small town in central Texas.
I know. I passed through it on the way to
I
Austin.
apologize.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, I originally had it as a 7.1, but I have to say after this talk,
Yeah.
I feel like I like it a little bit better, and it might seem like kind of an arbitrary bump up, but I give it 7.5.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
I
good.
feel like talking about it, you guys brought some really interesting insights that I have to consider further, and I think that maybe the movie has more to it than I originally thought.
That's 0.1 billion% of an increase.
Yes. Math
That's
joke.
the new running gag.
The secret to math is the
Oh, yeah.
secret.
No, and for me, I definitely I was a little more generous than
Yeah.
you guys. And just like in all things, I'm easy. So I actually gave it
Heyo.
an 8. Heyo!
8.
Yeah, I actually gave it an 8.
Okay.
Because I like whole numbers.
That one's got 2 in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Heyo.
Heyo.
One thing I learned in math is that 8 has 2 holes.
You sound like you studied in Bastrop.
I studied in a worse place in Bastrop, I
Jesus.
promise you that.
God, where are you from?
Burkeville, Texas, population 200 and some odd people.
What's the school like? Is it taught in rows by grade?
He said 200 and some odd people.
Grade in rows?
Yeah, so the entire school is located, and the high school is like right here, and the elementary is right here.
Oh, okay. So it's
Yeah.
not one classroom.
No,
Oh, okay.
it's a school.
It's at least
They had two of them in
2 or 3.
1978.
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
okay.
There's no stoplights in my hometown.
Holy shit.
There's like 4 stop signs. It was a hangout spot. We
Oh,
all
that's
go
cute.
and
That's-
they gonna
that's
stop.
cute.
They gonna stop.
So-
Yeah, they stopped.
That's real
So
cute.
speaking of stop signs,
Stop. We should go ahead and
we should go
I
ahead and do some bone plugs in harmony. Mm-hmm. Pew, 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 pew.
sound effects.
So, first
Insert
and
here.
foremost, Austin, you're our guest. Do you have anything to
Oh,
plug?
hey guys. Yeah, if you enjoyed my strange, convoluted theories about stuff, you can always listen to me and my friends on the Fantasy Goon Squad podcast. Once again, that's Fantasy Goon Squad. It's ridiculous and crazy. We're massive nerds, and sometimes there's goats. Don't ask why. Just
Hilltoppers.
listen. Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, so for all things pop culture and some things awesome, you can listen to the Fantasy Goon Squad podcast. We also do a podcast where we play tabletop role-playing games that we call the Diecast, and it consists of everything from like hero games to like fantasy role-playing games like D&D and sci-fi role-playing games like Shadowrun. So if you're into all that weird, ridiculous craziness, you can always listen to us there.
Okay, Zach's eating some za, so I'll go ahead.
Zod!
Zod! First and foremost, I have a blog that is nobodyputsme.corner.wordpress.com.
Also, I love that name.
It's a good one.
Thank you so much.
Great.
When I
That's hardcore
the
shit.
ghost of Patrick Swayze appeared to me and nodded in approval when I typed it in and validated it at WordPress.
And then you realized tonight
My mom
that
knew
late
Patrick
night.
Swayze.
That's so cool.
I swear, that's a true story.
Wait, is this the like 6 steps removed stuff?
No, she knew him.
Oh, like
she
actually?
rode a
Like-
horse with Patrick Swayze
Jesus
at one point in her life.
Christ.
Oh, good old Niecy.
That's a true story.
Now I'm only 3 steps away. I'm basically
close.
famous.
My Twitter handle is @BaileyMcLeod, and also, as of now, I am actually a contributor for Hello Giggles. So check out their website, and soon some of my stuff's going to be on there. I had my first article released about podcasting that you can find on my Facebook. Also, thank you to Jackson King for creating our intro-outro music. That's super rad.
It's super good.
It's badass, man.
And also, thank you to Lauren Mims for designing our cover art. She is super awesome. Check out all of her designs at LaurenCeciliaMims.com. You can check out her whole portfolio there.
And I also want to plug my stand-up comedy that I'll be doing pretty soon. I'll be performing at Kick Butt Coffee at an open mic. I don't have like a show or anything, but I'll let you guys know on Facebook day of. We will also be filming my show, which I forgot to mention in the last episode. I'm making a show called A Comedian that has comedic and supernatural elements in it.
It's not going to be like Watchmen, is it?
No, definitely not.
We're going to see Zach's
it's just
junk
like
in every episode.
Massive murder.
I think that it's, I don't know. I think it's the thing I'm most excited about I've ever done besides this podcast. So I feel I'm very excited about that. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, I occasionally tweet. Just hit the @ button and scream at your keyboard for as long as you can. And you should probably find me on Twitter.
Also, iTunes update, everybody. We are working on the kinks. Hopefully by Monday, we're going to have...
Or sooner.
Hopefully, yeah. We're going to say Monday just to like be broad.
Yeah.
Keep it cash.
Keep it cash.
We should have everything.
Wear a
up
shirt,
so that you
short
can
sleeve
find
shirt,
us
tuck it in,
on-
keep it cash.
Yeah.
We serve beer
Wear
on
your
Fridays.
Hawaiian
We're
shirt
pretty
and your
great office.
Strathadora cash.
Bring your Tommy Bahamas to the beach, wear some sandals, we're building sandcastles, keeping it cash here at Casting Out Dean.
Today we are sponsored by Tommy Bahama. Cash well, cash fresh.
Bommy Matama.
So yeah, I think that is everything. Thank you again, Austin, for coming on. We appreciate it. We've had a lot of fun.
It was my pleasure.
It was great, man. You did a great job.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me.
Yeah.
Like,
It was. I
this
think
is
it
the
was.
first time I've been out of the house all week. I haven't had human contact. For,
I've actually
for
been
months.
here at this place the
The
entire
same.
time. She doesn't know.
Oh yeah. Is she gonna edit this? Oh, hardcore. Well, that's good. Yeah, that'll work
But,
out.
hey, what are you guys talking about?
Anyway, I just want to thank everybody for listening, and thanks, Demon Heads. You guys are great. Don't check your phone. That's not me calling you.
And remember, ghosts have feelings too.
The sequel.
Casting Out Demons was created by Bailey McLeod Perkins, starring Bailey McLeod Perkins and Zach T. Busby. Written by Bailey McLeod Perkins and Zach T. Busby. This week's music was brought to you by Looperman.com. Original music by Jackson King. This episode was edited by Zach T. Busby. I just figured out it is not Bailey who is holding me captive. It is somebody pretending to be Bailey. Someone that's pretending to be me. Somebody that's pretending to be both of us. He is a demon for sure.